Hi, welcome to York's YouTube channel. Thanks for tuning in. And this is Liz Mathew, the regulated Canadian immigration consultant. And today we will be looking at the bills, the recent bills that has been introduced, that has in Parliament. They have been talking about it. So if that does come into picture, if the bills get passed, how does that bill get impact immigration? So basically, Bill C-3 was introduced on June 3rd, 2025, and that is in regards to the citizenship, and how does that affect a person who's in which all generations can get automatic citizenship and so on. So we'll be looking at each of that in detail, and come on in and let's look at it in detail. So Canada's Bill C-3, it came into effect on June 3rd, 2025, and it is amendment to the Citizenship Act, and that significantly broadens the scope of who can acquire Canadian citizenship by descent. So Canadian citizenship for the first generation, it was already there in place. So the legislative change is particularly for individuals born outside Canada. So if the parent was born inside Canada, they do get a citizenship. And so and then the parent decides to be outside Canada. So the child did get their Canadian citizenship. So if the individuals born outside Canada, those people are eligible for Canadian citizenship if this bill is passed. And previously, Canadian citizenship by descent was limited to the first generation born abroad. And so if this bill C-3, it will comes into place, it will remove the restriction allowing Canadian citizens who were themselves born abroad to pass on citizenship to their children born or adopted outside Canada, even beyond the first generation. And to qualify, the Canadian parent must demonstrate a substantial connection to Canada by having lived in the country for at least 1095 days, so which is 3 years before the child's birth or adoption. So that's the requirement for that Canadian parent. They should have lived in Canada for at least 3 years, which is 1095 days before the child's birth or adoption. That is a requirement. And the bill also addresses the issue of lost Canadians. So individuals who were born abroad to Canadian parents but were not granted citizenship due to a previous legal provisions. So Bill C-3 aims to restore citizenship to those individuals and their descendants, rectifying historical oversights in the Citizenship Act. So basically, the Citizenship Act, which was already there in place, there will be a whole lot of change in there, which will give like not just the first generation citizenship forward, but it will carry forward to the next generation as well. And so how it affects immigration is that Bill C-3 will open pathways to Canadian citizenship for a broader group of individuals, particularly those with Canadian heritage who were previously ineligible due to that first generation limit. And the legislation is expected to strengthen Canada's connection with its globally they would expand Canada's relationship with the other countries. And while the bill primarily focuses on citizenship by descent, it may influence immigration policies by highlighting Canada's commitment to inclusivity and recognition of its multicultural makeup. So that's what the Bill C-3, and it is currently under consideration, the Bill C-3 in the Parliament. And if it will pass, it will represent a significant shift in Canada's approach to citizenship, reflecting the country's involving understanding of identity and belonging in a globalized world to make it more accommodative. That is what the Citizenship Act is trying to do, and to build a broader connection and to build tie globally. So, but it has mixed reactions from people. It's having a positive reaction, particularly for those affected by previous citizenship limitation. And that is what currently, however, some has raised concern about the substantial connection requirement, questioning whether it might still pose barriers for certain individuals seeking to pass on their Canadian citizenship. Yes, they did keep a requirement in there. So the right now the reaction is a mixed reaction. There's positive reaction where people will be accommodated into the country. However, there is a negative reaction in the sense that since there is a requirement for the Canadian parent to have lived in Canada for some time, this might restrict people from getting their Canadian citizenship. Well, every bill, if it is passed, it does have both reactions. So let's hope that this is also the same. So thanks for tuning in, and see you in the next video.